Welcome to the Get Offset podcast. My name is Emily.
And my name is Andrew.
And we're here this week with Vanessa Wheeler, otherwise known as Vava.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
We're really excited to finally
trying
get
to order
you
a
on
breakfast
the
burrito.
Podcast.
Yes, breakfast burritos.
It went out.
Breakfast goals. So you followed Andrew's advice.
Yeah, but I also want them to bring me coffee. So there's a limiting factor there. Mm-hmm. Whereas some people just, they have the burrito thing, but they're not doing coffee. The end.
Man.
Well, breakfast, I mean, push comes to shove, breakfast burritos are just the elixir of life, so...
Mm-hmm. I feel like it'll wake me up or put me to sleep, and either is fine at this.
Either way, it's living your best life.
Yeah. I
am certainly going to need to take a disco nap at some point today. I'm supposed to be, fingers crossed. I've made myself not get excited. I'm not going to get excited until doors open. I'm supposed to be playing my first live gig in front of other human beings tonight.
Oh,
what?
My God.
Since March 1st of 2020. I feel like I need to point that out. Not ever since March 1st, since COVID, since Dallas, Texas. Sunday Crush is playing Connor Byrne tonight. That's where we met.
Yeah. What a great place.
It is a great little place. So it's you have to bring your proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test from within the past 48 hours. And you have to mask up. So I have my fun little I think I'll have to put on contacts for this. So that'll be an interesting one, but it lights up.
Oh, that is for the stage, my friend. Well done.
Thank you. It
like looks very thick, though. Are you going to pass out?
I might. You might.
Yeah.
It's worth it for the show. The show must go on.
I'll have backup masks that won't be as thick. But, I'm excited. I'm well rehearsed. I have my pedalboard ready.
What's on your board?
On my board, thank you for asking the nerdy question.
Yeah.
I have my Ernie Ball volume pedal tuner going into my Maris Enzo, going into my electronic audio experiments Halberd. That's going into my Dusk by Dr. Scientist. Which is going into my Bookworm Effects Diving Bells. That's a dual overdrive distortion. And that is going into my Caroline Effects Somersault. That goes into my Albee. And that goes into my
Albee's a chorus?
Too. Albee is a multi-mode modulation pedal. I think I have it to a mostly reverb setting with a bit of... I think it's got a bit of a chorus and a light delay on that one too. Yeah.
Just a little flavor.
Yeah, I'm mostly using it as a bit of a reverb, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, so lots of things in there. It's the first time I'm using any sort of envelope filter with Sunday Crush. So they're
which one's the envelope filter?
The Dusk. Mm-hmm. So it's a multi-filter. Yeah.
That's exciting. Does it do like sequencing, like those little sounds?
It can. I'm not choosing to do that. Just a pretty straightforward envelope filter sound going up.
Lovely.
So yeah.
Man, I wish I could be there.
Yeah.
Terrified of flying.
Streaming it. Did you drive for your tour?
No. I've done both. Mm-hmm. But that particular one, I called it the Weekend Warrior Tour because I was just taking the weekends and flying to Portland, San Francisco. I did drive to San Diego, and then to Seattle, yeah. But I tell you what, that turbulence, it's a doozy.
I don't like turbulence either, but turbulence does help planes fly more efficiently.
Oh.
Yeah.
And that helps me in here when I'm experiencing.
Sometimes the things that help you in here don't help you in here.
Yeah.
See, the way I rationalize it is if I sit at the back of the plane, because when was the last time you heard of a plane backing into a mountain?
Right.
It's impeccable logic.
Although you do get a lot of the tail movement. Anyway, we won't go into my fear economics.
I will say, Andrew, the reason I don't like to sit in the back of the plane is because you're so much closer to the bathrooms. It just doesn't smell good back there. I
like personally sitting like nearest to the wings because it's just that Instagram shot looks so much better that way.
I like to sit in the aisle.
Oh, I'm a window seat person all the way.
I like to stretch my leg out in the aisle. Just the one.
Trip people as they're walking by.
I'm like just short
enough.
Wasn't
me. Hey, you know?
Like I'll put like my bag underneath my seat, and as long as I've got enough like to scooch it over, I can get one leg extended all the way out to like that bumper underneath the seat in front of me. And that like I can get my knee completely stretched out. And then I recline a little bit and just completely pass out. If I was like literally if I was 1 inch taller, I don't think it'd work.
Yes. All those. I'm not going to say your height. I'm not going to say it.
5'6.5", 5'7" on a good day.
That's my height as well. I really want to get my leg like up to
We're all
this
the same
point.
Height.
Oh, we are. We should start a band.
Yeah. The band called 5'7".
Yeah.
Andrew on drums, me on bass because I'm the least good guitarist.
Well, I'm the worst bassist, so
yeah. It's
really a tragedy. I love it so much. I wish I was in the studio the other day, and the guy whose studio I was in, he was like, "Can you just lay down this bass part?" Because he had his kids in there, and I'm like, "Are you sure you want me to do this?"
Like you play guitar, it's just you know,
it's guitar without the bottom two strings. It's the same thing, man.
It is not. Turns out it's not the same thing. I was talking to my friend Francisco, who plays bass and produces a lot of stuff for me, and he and I were saying like there's like a space. It's called the pocket, and it's like a mile long. And when you really get into the bass, you realize where do I place this note? And it's just like it feels too big. You know, the possibilities are endless where, that minimalism just really doesn't compute in my brain.
Or you could just be like Elvis Costello's bassist during the Attractions period and just solo the whole fucking time.
Yeah, noodles.
Yeah, that just really is.
It really pisses me off.
Agreed. No, drums was my first instrument, and so like finding a bass player I could vibe with and just sit in that pocket. Just some of the most fun I've ever had playing music is just playing the same thing over and over again, but just sitting in the pocket, completely vibing. Once you're locked in with a bass player, there's just something in the magic there that I can't describe.
I always think that like to be a good musician, like to be a well-rehearsed musician, you have to be the kind of person who's doesn't get bored playing the same thing over and over and over and over.
It's me.
You get bored playing the same thing over and over and over and over?
Yeah. Boredom is a major. Sorry, the light is so dramatic right now. I'm sitting in front of a window.
I feel like you have a quest for us.
Yeah. Boredom is one of the more difficult things for me. That's why I think for a long time I was just writing really intense guitar parts because I'm trying to write a song. The songs are, I'm trying to be more within the pop structure, but I'm like, man, I can't do this for much longer. I feel it just feels not exciting. And part of the process of getting through that is just listening to a lot of music and knowing you don't want to hear a bunch of bullshit. Like sometimes you do, but but it is hard for me. And it turns out like playing the simple songs on stage is a lot more fun because you're not stressed out about what the fuck you're going to play. Can I swear?
Yeah.
I've
been swearing.
Okay.
This ain't no FM radio. We used to bleep things because Andrew requested it, and then I just stopped doing that because then Andrew kept cussing. I'm like, if you're going to make more work for me, then fuck this.
I kept it to 1 an episode, and we timestamped.
Yeah.
Most of the time.
Honestly, when we moved to video, I was like, this is too much work. And then I stopped. No.
It was fun though. We meowed with we bleeped it out with cat meows.
Yeah. It was fun while it lasted, but then I didn't have the time.
I also like replacing swear words with the word smurf. As it or just using it as a euphemism. Like, I smurfing hate that, or I'm going to smurf you right now, or, whatever. It's weird and fun.
Sure.
Right, that's actually a good one.
Thank you.
I hear that's popular among blues players.
That's a load of horse smurf.
Smurf Bull players? Because they're blue? Anyway.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, what would a smurf pedal sound like?
Envelope filter.
With only one mode.
Go down.
Love it.
Well, it would be blue. Is that the color that blue is in your brain? Would not be chorus?
Oh yeah, well that's a thing. Strymon released the Zelza.
Yep.
And it was purple, and that to me was like a clear sign that there was going to be something like funky about it. Like it's going to be an envelope filter meets a synth, some kind of synth pedal. It's like a fancy phaser flange chorus thing.
Definitely a phaser.
Right, which I associate with orange.
Yeah. It's almost the same color as their flanger.
Right. The orbit.
Yeah. And the same size.
Just a deeper purple.
But Zelza was an interesting name choice.
Do we know where that comes from?
No idea.
It's a biblical thing.
Is it?
I kind of Googled the name. Zelza meaning... The biblical name is the meaning... In biblical names, the meaning of the name Zelza is noontide.
Huh.
Yes.
I don't know what the noontide reference is.
The name Zelza only occurs once in the Bible. Blah, 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 blah. The verb, bedazzling or sizzling.
Ooh, there we go.
That makes sense.
Glow, shade in the heat of the sun.
Ooh, there you go. Shade in the heat of the sun.
Shade in the heat of the sun. I like that.
I gotta say, from what I've heard, I love that depth knob. It changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, widening the stereo field is very sexy. Very sexy sound.
I'm a huge fan of stereo, but I'm not sure I'm sold because I don't know. I think phaser. I think of like a phase 90, one knob. That's it. And that's the sound that I associate with. So I'm sure it's the sort of thing I would need to sit down with and really dig into to figure out whether or not I gel with it. But
yeah.
I like that there's a sweep called the barber sweep, and the description is similar to the visual effect of a barber pole.
Right.
Continuously rising or falling.
I was hoping that they would say barbershop quartet.
I know, right?
Sound of barbershop.
Well, I mean, my understanding is sort of similar to that, where it's you've got multiple frequencies that set amount apart from each other that are accentuated, and so as it scales up, they'll kind of follow each other. And as if it's an ascending barber pole, as the top one passes the 20k hertz, and disappears, it starts over the bottom, so it sounds like it sounds constantly going up, even though you're playing the same note. Just the ascending accentuations. That's
a vibe, so to speak. My favorite orange pedal that is kind of a phaser, but also please excuse the dust on it. Have you seen these Enterprise pedals?
No.
It's by VFE. They're no longer a pedal company anymore, but Mike gave me this pedal before he departed Los Angeles, and it is unbelievable. It does univibe and phase, and it just feels magical in that way. And it's the fully analog thing. And I want to do a comparison between an orange, phaser, and the Zelza. I think the psychedelic stuff is definitely coming back into music.
Yeah.
And I like
subtly.
that.
I think a little psychedelia goes a long way.
Yeah. It can definitely like eat up your sound.
We can have a little psychedelia as a treat. Not too much.
An edible treat.
A little salami as a treat.
I do like salami.
No, I spent a bunch of time last night, Friday night, get home from the day job, and I'm going to go to my room. And it played with the EQD pyramids.
Dope.
And
that pedal is insane.
Yeah, I've got that on my main rig sitting right here behind me. And so I just kind of was toying around with that and some distortion sounds, and I went everywhere from shoegazy stuff to just, I dialed in for I got it sounding actually pretty close to how I remember Small Clone sounds in my head. And so I was like, oh, I haven't played Nirvana in a while. Let's do that. And so, just like a whole range of, and then all the way into kind of hitting, I knew that I had hit psychedelic when the door started shutting in the house and realized I just left the door open at high volume. That was fun.
Yeah. What settings do you normally use on that?
So I really like the through zero setting a lot.
Mm-hmm.
But I also like the random setting where it's like that, like it arpeggiates the flange sound. That's just,
that was my favorite sound on it.
Yeah, it's
the most unique.
But I really like using that one for is if I'm playing around with ambient sounds and just turn up the delay. So I've got an avalanche run that sits right after that. So I'll do really long delay, like in between repeats with on reverse delay, and just kind of let that sit quietly in the background. And then I'll just dial in the random setting just quietly in the background, and just adds a really nice sparkle touch to ambient layers.
Yeah, that is nice. You put it after.
I put the flange before, and then before that I've got the organizer as well.
Oh, very sparkly.
Very sparkly. Yeah.
I also have one of those around here. But yeah, flange is one of those spices, right?
Yep.
On the flavor of a guitar palette.
Oh, it's one of, like, if it's there, like, you don't always notice that it's there, but as soon as like you realize that the guitar player is playing with flange, like I've been listening, like there's a band Silverstein that I really like, listening to for forever, and it finally hit me like, wait a minute, they use a flange on their guitar sound for and now I can't stop hearing it now.
What's the feeling? It's kind of like I want it to be felt, not heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, is it a stereo field thing? Is it like strange? It's just a color.
It's just a color to it.
Yeah.
It's like a slight filtering color that just sounds right.
I have this Solid Gold Effects Oblivion that I've been meaning.
I have one of those.
Yeah.
I've been meaning to do a demo with this for ages.
Me too.
And I finally quit my job, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna be messing around with this, but I want to put it on drums. I feel like that'll be an interesting spice to put in a recording.
I love phaser on drums. Like, I think you haven't lived until you put a phaser on like a drum machine. That's one of my favorite things to do, like in the world, I think.
Yeah.
I love the ghost facts from Dwarfcraft Devices on a drum machine. I think more than anything in the world.
Ghost
so many
facts.
bleeps and bloops.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that in my notes.
Yeah.
I really like their pedals a ton. I just haven't had any.
Yeah. I wonder if there are any on Reverb right now. Oh, facts.
Was there a flange that recently was released? Or is that you were talking about the Spaceman? And it wasn't the Aurora, but the Delta.
The Delta 2, that was their harmonic tremolo. Yeah, so the Spaceman Delta 2 is... Let's find their website. Oh, gosh. Where's their? Oh man, their website's pretty far down there in the rankings.
What was the pedal you mentioned before? It was a phaser you loved to put on a drum machine.
Ghost Facts. Dwarfcraft Devices Ghost Facts. I got it over here. Oh,
Dwarfcraft. You have to say that in the voice of Sean Connery.
This is the version I have. There aren't any on Reverb right now, unfortunately. But you can control the pulls. Lots of fun controls,
nice
secret modes and stuff. Oh yeah, big fat boys. Nice pause.
Ooh.
Assignable expression controls. Oh man, this thing is really fun.
Having a pause or like a ramp feature or something to just kind of like toggle in between two different sounds is actually quite nice.
Yeah.
For that moment where you just want to sprinkle your spice.
Sprinkle the spice. Be your own little salt bay. Indeed.
Yes.
Speaking of pedals with fun ramps, holds, and havocs, this week's episode of the Get Off Set podcast is sponsored by Caroline Guitar Company. As I mentioned before, I have the somersault, their chorus and vibrato pedal on my board. One of my secret sauce parts of my board is the somersault. On our song Good Boy, the Sunday Crush Band, our hit song Good Boy, I really loved their I forget what the switch is called on that, but they have a switch on that will max out rate and depth, and I really love using that on the chorus on Good Boy. So go down, 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 down.
Oh, it does like hilarious. A fast. That sounds fun.
It's really fun.
Does it do it to a particular tempo, or it just goes nuts?
Max rate and depth. Yeah,
that makes sense.
So it's just very
I always wanted one
bandy.
of those.
Yeah,
I love the look of it. I think he released one in like a lilac color.
Yeah, I have the
hot.
The dark the initial release, so that had like a lilac print, and it was a darker color, but great pedal.
I know this isn't like directly related to like the pedals themselves, but because the Havoc features such a staple for Caroline in my head, like I've always in the back of my head. Hi. Oh, I'm being brought coffee.
Oh, lucky man.
Thank you.
Who's bringing us our coffee, Vanessa?
Thank you, Melissa. A little water. It's okay.
Why don't we get coffee?
Sorry. Train of thought. You remember it's one of the car insurance companies that does like the Mayhem character.
Oh yeah.
I think it would be really fun to do like Havoc, do like a Havoc character for a commercial for Caroline.
That's brilliant.
Oh, that would be funny.
It'll just be Philippe.
With like a bandage around his head or something. I think that would be amazing.
That would be funny. I think he'd be into that.
Philippe, do it. I'll film you. Where do you live, Philippe?
Philippe, do it. Do it, Philippe. Do it. Do it. Man.
Just like somebody playing their guitar cleanly and he like comes along and like, I'm Havoc. You'll never know when Havoc strikes or something.
Don't you want to be able to control the Havoc? Yeah. So check out Caroline Guitar Company.
Love them.
Yes. Oh.
Now I gotta buy one. Oh, can we talk about the Old Blood Noise, the newest reverb freezing thing that I think is so lovely?
Sunlight?
Yes. And also did they do like a metallic pink on that? Something about the paint is so gorgeous.
They did two colorways to launch. I think
that's neat.
They had like a green. I saw.
I just assumed they didn't do it in orange because nobody tagged me in it.
Fair assumption.
I just keep getting tagged on Instagram like anything that's orange.
Yeah, it's a good. It's the thing about like liking something a lot and telling people is that then you get tagged in it all the time forever, or people just start sending you things. That's why,
like this orange guitar behind you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I have a slight obsession with the color orange.
I have a pink and orange guitar.
I know. Is that Creature?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can you see? She's
I don't think I can.
Back here.
No, but I love the orange inlays on that one.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
I was like, can you just create inlays out of the pickguard material?
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, we were talking about Old Blood Noise. I didn't mean to completely derail that.
That's fine.
So Sunlight Reverb, playing on the relationship between pedal and player, input and output, OB&E presents Sunlight Dynamically Held Reverb. Sunlight features 3 new reverb algorithms unique to OB&E lineup, each with the added ability to freeze the reverb trails when the player stops playing. So that's really, really cool.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I feel like it'd be ideal for, as a lot of synth pedals are coming out or have come out recently for guitar players, like that kind of carries the vibe of like playing a pad.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like a lot of times guitar players, especially singers, songwriters, they just want to play, not have to strum and just play changes sometimes.
Yep.
Totally.
I think it would be really cool.
I gotta get this one.
Yeah.
I kind of want to do. I like doing like wet dry mixes on board setups, and I think it'd be really fun to do like an A/B switch and strum a chord out with the infinite hold reverb, and then hit the A/B switch over to the other side and just play something else over the top of it, back and forth. That'd be a lot of footwork, but I think that could be super fun for a song.
Yeah. Have you guys messed with using Ableton to like do all your MIDI switching for you?
No, I am just MIDI is.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I might have to do that for an upcoming tour.
Yeah.
And so just like popping that question in there in case anybody
listening years ago.
Yeah, because I see these bands and they're like, they've got keys, they've got the whole board going. And I'm like, you did not step on one pedal. What is happening? Oh, you have something in the background kind of just running the length of the track, right?
Yeah.
Next episode.
Yeah, I just wish I had I need to make more time. If anybody has tips on how to make time, I'd love to know.
You have to take yourself seriously enough to schedule in that time in your life and not just stare at the wall because you're so tired, because that's normally what I end up doing.
Dude, like, honestly, like, I got like an email today from someone who like approached me about doing a demo, and I sent my rate, and then they sent back this long thing about how like, oh, well, we want to build a relationship, not pay. And I kind of feel bad about saying no, but I'm like, it sounds like you really just don't value my time.
That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I read the email and I'm like, no, that's patently offensive.
Dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like the kind of company. It's the kind of company that I like want to support, because like it is a small company, but I'm like, and I just kind of want to say, I don't think that you understand how much work it is to do this kind of video, because it's not just like a simple type of pedal. It's not even a pedal. It's like something that would involve like an installation and an A/B. So it would be like filming twice. It'd be editing and splicing. It'd be an installation. It'd be like a 5 to 10 hour process. And for a product. And
that's a question that I actually have for you as a creator, which we don't have to talk about, or we can edit out. But should I ask you now or later?
Go ahead, go for it.
Ask the question. We can always edit out later.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Like I take like demos are like $300. Like that's the base rate for the magazine that I work for.
Yeah.
And I end up, and some people get paid more because they have more followers or whatever, more time. But it's can you hear me okay? Am I very far away still?
You
sound great.
Okay. And, you know, for approximately, you know, unfortunately, I do like a lot of editing. It ends up being creating the pieces of music, getting all the settings, taking those shots. It's like 8 hours for $300. And I'm like, is that, it can be 8 hours. Like, is that a price point that is realistic anymore, you know?
I mean, that's a question you have to ask yourself.
Right.
Is that like what you feel comfortable making in a day's work? And do you see it actually contributing to what you want to build in the future?
Mm-hmm.
That's
I want to get paid more for it. That's what I want.
Yep.
So
yeah,
I don't mind putting in
your
legwork now.
yours is a lot more than what I do. You do more work than I do. So I think you should get paid more, personally.
Well, I was going to suggest, like, I'm sorry, the light in here is so dramatic. I was going to suggest tiers, like, like, I don't know if you do that already. I was thinking, like, do I do tiers where if somebody wants me to just do like my thoughts or like a couple examples versus like putting it on like a whole track, you know?
Right.
And
Yeah.
those tiers would vary. And that would be a way to like help out people, even though you didn't like the way that they talked to you in that email.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is, I can't do that unless I, install the product. I can't give my
that's
thoughts.
kind of dramatic.
Yeah, like if it was because like I don't put things on whole tracks. I don't compose pieces. A lot of people do that, and it's like I'm in awe of those individuals. I sit down with a product and I walk through the parameters. And I do it in a very conversational type of way.
Mm-hmm.
So when I do pedals or when I do guitars, it's kind of more educational. It's kind of more conversational. It's like a friend showing you something that they got that they're excited about. So that's my
super valid.
Yeah. So, and ultimately part of that is to keep my my work time down, my editing time down, and so that I, don't spend 8 hours on a demo, because that's just not realistic for me for what I charge for demos. And basically when I ask for something specifically, I don't charge for it. So when someone approaches me, that's when I typically charge for things, to be real. So go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna pitch in my 2 cents if it's welcomed here. By my 2 cents, I was gonna actually refer to an Instagram creator that I've been following recently, freelance expert, and I think a lot of that carries over to. I've been watching he does reels. His name's Jamie Brindle, and I've been watching his stuff the last month or so, and realizing that there's a lot that I can learn for how I apply that to Fox Cairo as a separate business entity. And I would say I can send you the link to his Instagram. There's some really, really great advice in terms of how to set expectations with clients and different options for pricing structures and how to handle some of those awkward customer interactions from someone who's been doing freelance work. I'm not honestly sure what industry, but I think he tees it up to be very straightforward and universally applicable.
What's his account again?
His name is Jamie Brindle, I want to say. Let me double check that. And then he's got it all like in reels, makes it like 30 seconds of like really solid advice. The Jamie Brindle, Business of Freelance. He's got just shy of 100K followers. But yeah, I mean, I think some of that customer interaction in terms of raising rates and figuring out what that looks like, I think a lot of those questions, there's something at least worth mining in that page.
Yeah, because I mean, we have to value our time because it's finite.
It really is finite.
And for every business that wants the freebie, there's another business that's willing to pay.
Yeah, and I look at things like on weeks where I don't release a lot of videos, it's probably because I have a writing assignment. I get paid a lot more for those.
Yeah.
And I can do them a lot faster. So, I mean, like most people know, well, not a lot of people know, I do copywriting is my full-time job. It's my day job. And it's how I pay my bills, and it's in the same space. And I'm I'm pretty fast at it. And sometimes I get freelance projects that involve writing too. So when I get those, I do tend to favor them a little bit. They're not as exciting always, but for the work that they take, they pay pretty well. And you're talking about spending 8 hours for $300 doing a video, and I think, I can write an article in that amount of time and get $800.
Yeah. Yeah, someone recently, like I posted on Instagram that I quit my job, and I was like, I'm open for work, because I'm not too proud to beg. And I had a friend actually contact me, and they were like, I've been paying people $100 to, like, contribute to his record in some way. It's like, and he asked, would you play a song and sing? And I'm like, and I was like kind of offended.
For $100?
For $100.
Like both those things for $100?
Yeah. Yeah, I was like
that's under a scale. Does he know what
like,
scale is?
I don't know. I told him, like, I am not a session musician. I put in a lot of time and write what I think it would be appropriate for this piece of music. So I'm not just going to noodle over it, very, very methodical when it comes to recording. I said, I can't do it for anything less than $300.
Yeah.
And he was like, cool. So sometimes you just got to ask for what you're worth, and, or even
the worst thing that someone can say is no.
Yeah. And then you have more time to do whatever else.
Yeah.
And, that was nice. I also have a friend who works in theater who said, tell them that you charge twice as much as you normally charge and see what happens. And with the same advice, like they can always say no.
Yeah. And that's the worst. And that's the worst thing that can happen. So, and ultimately I feel like, sometimes it is a risk that somebody just says no and doesn't negotiate. That is a risk. And ultimately it comes down to, can you
most of my life on Reverb.
Yeah. Can you afford for somebody to say no?
Yeah.
So like for the Premier Guitar stuff, like, can you afford for them to say no? And like, what was the worst case scenario that they don't then give you any more work? And can you afford that?
Yeah.
No. So that's kind of that's the question more than anything, I think, would be in my mind, like, if the work stops coming completely, and then could you fill it with something else? Could you just do it on your own and charge your own rates and have these own companies come to you? Because that's what a lot of other demo people do, and then you can keep the money.
One day maybe. But these guys, like, they really, or people in general on the demo circuit on YouTube, they really just crank it out, just shred all over it. And I'm like, I like writing music, and so I don't want to just play chords. That's just my personal brand or whatever, Yeah. Any hoozle, thank you for entertaining me on that topic.
Totally.
No, but it's something that a lot of people talk about, and I talk with a lot of other demo people every day about these exact kinds of things. And it's been a weird summer, because we were talking before the podcast started, like, there were almost no real releases this summer, and then this week there were like 5. There were the Harmony guitars, the Silhouettes with the Bigsby's, Harmony amps, which you were part of,
I was.
through Harmony. Congratulations. That was exciting. You want to talk about those a little bit, or how that all came together?
I really dig the amps, but aside from that, I really wanted to try their tiny little the H66, I think, kind of model that they have. It's super small. I forget the exact name. I had it in like champagne or the gold color, and so I texted people around in the gear community and was like, "How do you know anybody I could who would give me?"
Are you talking about this little baby?
No, the guitar. It's the guitar.
Oh yeah, those things are cool. Yeah, the
yeah, they have the P90s in it.
Yeah, the very, very tiny one. Yeah.
And I'm obsessed with tiny guitars, very lightweight. So that's how I sort of started the relationship with Harmony. And then they contact me to be sort of like their gear person for the amp release and like play a couple samples. So I went over there to the studio where they were filming, or a house actually, filmed all of that. And they also let me borrow the 3 amps, like over a period of like 2 months, just so I could get a flavor for it and kind of speak just on my own experience. And and then I created the reel that they asked me to do, which I was stoked on because that's I love doing that kind of work.
Totally.
Yeah. And I have the 605, and it's like low watt, smallish amp. It's actually a good size amp, weighs probably like 25 pounds. And it's loud. It can be less loud. The attenuator, it gets, the higher gain sounds sound more fizzy, like, than like full bodied fuzz. And that's probably my favorite sound, is like maxing out the gain and turning it, like using I use my Torpedo Captor X and just getting this like gravelly fuzz sound and turning the tone knob down on my guitar. And it's just a very subtly like beautiful sound. That's probably my favorite. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched a couple of the videos. I really like the 605. I feel like the reverb on the 605 sounded a little stronger than the reverb I saw. The only other one I watched was on the 650.
That's a full spring tank.
I know, but it didn't really sound as like it got as wet almost as I would have hoped it would.
Yeah.
It didn't drip.
No, the 605 really, like Ryan Burks especially. He seemed to get it in that territory. If anyone could, he could.
Right.
Yeah. But I like the 605. Did you get to pick which one you took home? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. I mean, the 650 is a behemoth. Truly. It is absolutely, like, when they brought it over, I'm like, you need to just bring it inside for me because I can't carry it.
It's like 60, 70 pounds.
Yeah. I mean,
I remember seeing the specs when I was drafting the first product copy way back when, like a while.
Yeah. That's cool that you did that.
Well, they've been working on these since like 2019.
Right.
A lot of work goes into product releases. A lot of people don't see the behind the scenes on that.
There have just been such product shortages, like component shortages and shipping problems. Like they can't. Apparently, one of the big problems is just like empty shipping containers sitting empty because they won't ship it back empty. So they need to wait for something to be able to put stuff back in it to ship it back, because they won't just ship it empty because it's $25,000 and it used to be $5,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Wow. No, international shipping costs have gone completely through the roof. I mean, the cost per pallet for stuff that I deal with is just absurd. And then
it's bananas.
Chipset shortages has been super huge. I know I've seen enclosure shortages for guitar pedals has been a thing recently. What I've heard on the circuits, and I mean, it's an absolute mess to be sourcing materials right now.
Yeah, I wonder how they're doing it, especially releasing it now. They're made in China, I believe, so they're able to keep their prices down and still offer quite a lot of bang for your buck. Which rubs people the wrong way, maybe, but if you really want like a loud ass versatile amplifier, you can't really complain from like a $600 amp.
Totally.
Yeah. And then the 650 is only $1,000.
Yeah, it's like $999, right?
Yeah, a 50-watt amp with a spring reverb tank, an analog spring reverb tank, and I think a 2-driven tremolo unit in it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it
might get loud.
Good deal.
Yeah, it does.
And an attenuator and a direct out. Yeah, that's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, attenuator and direct out's a huge deal for me living with other people in my living arrangement.
I think that's kind of why I'm surprised it hasn't had like a little bit more attention, because just like that feature set seems pretty stellar for the price point to me.
Oh, absolutely.
It is. When they told me, when they were running me through the amps, I was like shocked. Absolutely shocked. But I mean, that is part of what you get by going overseas. Yeah, why do you think the impressions are maybe haven't been as loud big as for other things? Yeah.
I think there's a couple of reasons. I was talking with someone else, and I think again it's that it's not like it was a surprise that they existed. They've been seen right. since 2019. Like people knew that they were coming since 2019, so it's kind of like, oh yeah, those things finally got released, I guess. And another thing, and this is something that I think Lauren from Band Labs had mentioned to me when the guitars got released, when I mentioned like, oh, those prices are really good for guitars that seem like they're this quality. And she said, yeah, but people think Harmony guitars should be $500 or less. Just regardless of the quality, anything like that people just have in their brains that a brand that's called Harmony should be a cheap Sears and Roebuck guitar.
Yeah, so it's odd. Who thinks that, except for like older player? That would be my impression as someone who's lived during that time.
I think you answered your question.
Yeah, not to offend, but I mean, it's a brand new company, really.
Yeah, it's just a name. It's just a heritage name,
Yeah, I mean, just overcoming the historical, like you go into a pawn shop and find a Harmony sitting there in the corner for $450. You talk them down to $325 and walk out the door happy. And that's because it's been that way for so long. And I get that there's a brand association there to get over, but it's not the same that it was before. So people need to, I don't know.
Acclimate.
I think that's a unique challenge with taking over a legacy brand that's been defunct for a while and rebooting it. I think Super has been dealing with the same thing, to a different degree.
They got acquired by D'Angelico, right?
Supro?
Yeah.
They were owned by Pigtronics before, and I remember they got sold, and I don't remember to who off the top of my head.
They're all owned by the same company, D'Angelico, Supro, Pigtronics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
They're all part of the same company. I just don't know what the exact tiers of ownership are.
Because they stopped making Supro guitars, and now I see them featured alongside. These are weird things you like pick up
on. Bond Audio.
Just like
because they made those amazing 26.5 scale baritones, and I'm like, where'd they go? Those are cool guitars.
When I worked at Guitar Center, I remember getting a whole bunch of them, and I remember them being super slick. And I remember the coolest feature I thought for like a sub-$1,000 guitar was the whole body was like high gloss finish except for the back of the neck. They had like a pretty clear cut on the back for a satin finish that just played so nicely for a painted neck.
That black satin neck was really nice.
Yeah.
Take note.
And then the gold foils. I just thought the gold foil with the S on it was a little cheesy, but they sounded good.
Yeah, it was too much branding. What are you looking at?
I'm just.
Are you discovering that it's like the food industry where like everything's owned by like 3 brands?
I was just trying to figure out what like some timeline stuff, but I am unable to apparently. So no big deal. Sorry about that.
No, all good. All good.
All good.
Continue.
It's okay. Yeah, it's always weird when so many brands owned by brands. It's always kind of weird to see. that kind of thing.
Totally.
Yeah.
I wonder if it's like the only way you can stay afloat unless you're like a solo builder, you know?
Yeah, and then some kind of fly under the radar. Like, I think a lot of people forget or don't realize like the Walrus is owned by All Parts.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. Obviously Harmony, Teisco, Band Labs, Mono. I think is Vintage Guitar also part of that Band Labs Technologies family?
I don't know. I think guitar.com is.
Yes, also that.
And NME.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
No.
It's just really interesting to see. I mean, as long as it's good products, that's fine.
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't particularly care.
I don't have a problem with the business structure inherently by any stretch of the imagination. Yeah. Like, same thing with Fender owns a whole bunch of brands.
And Jackson.
Yep. And they do. I think they do a fine job managing all those brands in tandem.
Yeah.
Speaking of them, have you played the new Supersonic in Sparkle Blue?
No, but I'm supposed to be getting one.
Hell yeah.
I'm playing my old Supersonic, the one that fell off the wall at the gig tonight.
Oh, fuck.
Are you saying "oh fuck" because it fell off the wall?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It just got some chips in the paint. It's fine. I have some Lawlers. I think the Imperials in it. So it sounds really good. And I switched the I just have a master tone, master volume in it, and I have coil splits. So it's a
yeah. I saw you did, and you didn't. Did you solder? Was that your first soldering experience?
No. I've soldered for a couple years. I taught myself on while watching the Thanksgiving parade one year.
That's the right forum for it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Soldering freaks me out because I'm like, what if I burn my fingers?
Yeah, I think that every time. And I think that as long as you think I better not burn my fingers, then you'll
definitely screw it up.
No, you'll just be more careful and you won't burn your fingers because you'll be careful.
I feel as though it's best that I don't know how to solder because then I'll just be messing around with every single piece of gear I have, probably ruin it, and buying like too many different kinds of pots or just to experiment.
Yep, you do that.
That's what I really love to do.
I mostly
just experiment.
Yeah, I mostly say, like, I'll talk to Sean from Gun Street Wiring, because I'm probably going to, I always like to upgrade the Squires, so I have the baritone, so I'm probably going to talk to Sean from Gun Street and, like, maybe upgrade the wiring and the switches. Maybe we'll find some new P90s for that. Maybe talk to Lawler and see what they can do for me, or maybe Curtis Lamberton.
What was your biggest impression with the I watched your video, but remind me with the baritone, because I always thought it sounded good.
I think it sounds really good, and I think the quality of construction is just fantastic. I also have the Eastwood baritone, the side jack, and what I've always fucking hated the neck on that thing. I think it sounds like fine. No, it's just like the fretwork on it is shitty.
Oh yeah.
So just like unpolished frets, sharp fret edges, and I've always meant to like kind of like fix it, but I don't play it enough. Like I have one person that I gig with sometimes. I haven't gigged with in a while. That I'll play the baritone with her. Because it's just acoustic guitar, me on baritone, and a drummer. Because she wants more low end, but she doesn't want to get a bassist. But she wants electric guitar, but she doesn't want a bassist. And I'm like, you need
the perfect
something.
It's perfect.
Yes, that's what I thought. So I'll play this, and every time I play, I'm like, these frets suck. And then I get this thing, I'm like, wow, this fretwork on this is so much nicer, and it's like 2/3 the price of the Eastwood. So
never sell it.
Never sell a baritone. Never sell Fender Squire baritone, because then they just go up in price.
Yeah.
But the jack on it was
$1,600.
Yeah. Some people complain about the switch and the jack in it. I think I've talked about this in every episode. People complain about the jack in it, but that was like a 5-minute fix.
Yeah.
Yeah, just replace it with an electro socket and some basic soldering skills and a screwdriver.
All right.
Or you take it to
it's a slippery slope.
You take it to your tech and it's a bench fee.
Right.
Yeah.
My tech is now in Seattle, so
Your tech is my tech now.
I know. Lucky duck. It's the same reason why I don't collect vinyl, because I know I would have a problem.
Yeah.
So I just consciously avoid, so I don't have to, every time you move and you've got hundreds of pounds worth of vinyl with you.
It's the worst.
You guys, my burrito is about to arrive.
Yes, and I think that's a great time to stop. Where can people find you?
Oh, on the internet. On Instagram, I go by Vava en Vivo. It's VAVAEN VIVO. Nice. And then, and then on YouTube, I'm Vava. It has an accent. I only have like one real geary video on that, but soon we'll be populating more since I have more time.
Yay.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, you guys.
Well, thanks for joining us. To everyone out there, this has been Get Offset. Please like, comment, subscribe below. Check us out on patreon.com/getoffset, getoffsetpodcast.com/shop. Thanks for watching.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks for understanding. Until next time, my name is Emily.
My name is Andrew.
That's Vanessa. Goodbye.
Bye.